If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor look too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginning, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are done, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Did you know if you put your top lip and your bottom lip and you press them together, you will experience how to shut the fuck up?
That's right, folks. You will experience how to shut the fuck up. How is everybody today, guys? It's been busy. It's guys, girls, everybody. I know, man, I have been all over the place. It's been awesome. It's also been tiring. Got a lot of stuff going on. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Tons of things going on out there in the big bad world, and we're going to get into all of them, I think. Most of them, anyway. Hey, the Vince Wilson Show is in the chat. What's up, my man? Good to see you out there. Glad to have you and everyone else at my event. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Vince Wilson is in the chat. I do apologize. I'd scheduled this for noon. Unfortunately, I had to update my camera. I don't know. It's still not exactly right, but I'll get to it. I'll make it work. Don't you worry. We got a lot to talk about. Mostly what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about a couple of things. First, we got to talk about Iran, where we're at with Iran, and why we're there and why I think we're okay. And Mikey Balls and I had a terrific conversation while I was driving from Huntsville to back to Tennessee. And it was really a good time. And we're really need to talk a lot about this this craziness that is the Iran conflict, Iran war, whatever we're calling it right now. And amongst other things, right? We got to talk about, we'll talk about the event. I'm going to probably do that a little bit later. We're going to talk about some stuff going forward. We may not be done in Texas. There's something we're kind of working on right now with some of the people that are in Texas that will help us out, and we'll see how that works out. And yeah, I don't know that most people, because our event rolled so smooth, and because it was so good, the debates were so awesome, good energy, great representation on both sides of every single issue. I couldn't have asked for more, to be honest with you. But I think the thing that most people don't realize is that the only person that had actually debated live before in person, I believe, was Jake Varr. I'll have to think about that a minute. And Tyler, Jake and Tyler, both of them debated at my last live event in Nashville. And, Vince Wilson, who's in the chat right now, it was his first time debating live, and he did awesome. Father Joseph, first time he had debated live, and he actually sent me a text saying that there are some ways that that participating in the event to him was life-changing. That was the word he used, life-changing. And that's pretty interesting. And he and I are going to have a meeting we're going to actually probably have him on the show this week. Maybe Wednesday. Maybe I'll get him on Wednesday. We'll see. Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. I might do a special and do a Thursday night instead of relaxing Thursday like I normally do. I know Taylor Fogarty, that was her first live in-person debate. I know Stardust, who was just absolutely freaked out, but yet did an excellent job, did an amazing job. We got her some quiet space where she could calm down and get herself together, and she pulled out with Taylor Fogarty an amazing debate. It was really a great event, and I couldn't have done it without, as Vince Wilson ahead of me here says, the father did really good. Absolutely, he did. Also, Admiral Gibbs was the real star of the show. While I am the backbone of this, right, Gibbs and Glenn Lawrence both did an amazing job of helping me put this together and actually being a part of it. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm far too busy to be in front of a camera for any length of time. Somebody will be calling me, hey, we need a decision on this. Hey, we need to see something about this. There's no way that I could moderate. I want to. I actually want to debate. I actually want to debate in one of my own shows. But the problem is, it's just not possible. I have too much going on. And so I need people like Glenn and Admiral Gibbs to step up and step into those positions and take the reins, so to speak, and be able to do all of the things that need to be done. And the moderation was on point. It was great. I saw some weird comments about he was grooming himself, which, hey, you know what? I might want to brush my hair too. If I, being on camera all day. But overall, can't say enough good things about both Glenn and Admiral Gibbs. They'll be around. And we still may have something going on in Texas. We're trying to do some stuff there. The debaters themselves, you guys don't understand, several of these guys flew in or drove across Texas to be there. They took time out of their lives. To come out and debate and do such a great job, it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's great. And I can't say enough good things about them. Vince, certainly you are, you were awesome, and I'd love to have you back in a debate. Maybe we'll do. I think we're going to try and do something in Orlando. I was originally thinking January. Now I'm thinking maybe midsummer, kind of like now, this same kind of time period next year, because we're trying to really do something. going forward. We're really, really trying to up the game, and we'll get into that down the road, guys. I promise. I promise we will. Now, let's talk some politics. I haven't talked politics in a while. I had to watch these guys debate, and I couldn't say anything. I haven't really been able to have any really good debates in a while. And Mikey Balls and I had a really great. You see him in the chat. Insane Wheels. Welcome in, Mikey. Welcome in everybody who's tuning in today. I know I'm running late. It'll be okay. But we'll come back to a bunch of this stuff. But let's talk about Iran for a minute. Let's talk about what's going on, and let's start at the beginning. One of the most, and as Mike and I talked about yesterday, one of the most important things to remember is, while everybody thought, there seems to be a popular line of reasoning or thought or whatever. The reality is that all the claims that were made about Trump being under Netanyahu's control, Trump this, Trump that, Israel reigns supreme, Israel's this, Israel's that, all of that is effectively it's nonsense. Okay, it just is. You've got 3 to 10 million people out there in the world that that are somehow like dominating the United States of America. That's insane. That's absolutely crazy. But what is less crazy is that Trump went to Netanyahu and said, look, you want our trade deals. You want us to write a check every once in a while. You want this support to continue. You are going to launch the first strike in Iran. It's going to be on you. And then the rest of the Arab protectorate that Trump has envisioned was to follow suit. And for the most part, they did. Now, it's really important. This is a really important point, because one of the things I think that a lot of people kind of gloss over, or maybe they ignore on purpose, is that this conflict with Iran was going to happen at some point regardless. Okay? It just is. It just was. And as we've seen, we had a little too much hubris, a little too much pride. I think that there were some things that we as a government, not as a society, but as our government, our strategist, I think what they expected to happen was for these bombs to start, take out targeted strikes on the leadership, and then the protesters, the rank and file, the people of Iran would come together, and we would basically be assisting a regime change without ever putting our feet on the ground. And we came damn close. Let's just be honest, admit to ourselves that we came just damn close. Mikey made an excellent point yesterday when we were talking about this, that one of the things I don't think everyone realizes is your average Iranian citizen, regardless of tribe, regardless of their status, they do to some degree support the existing administration. That's a tough one, guys. It really it's tough. It's tough to get a regime change without having to actually go in, boots on the ground. And Mike and I talked about that quite a bit yesterday. And where I'm going with this is where we are now is we keep trying. The U.S. is, Trump is really trying to keep his promise of no boots on the ground, but he's also trying to deliver this regime change. Mikey made an excellent point yesterday, and that I agree with, is that for America, we really need a decisive win, right? Whereas all the Iranians have to do, all the Iranian government needs to do is just survive for until we get tired or something else happens. And that's a very solid point. That's exceedingly solid. Which brings us to where we are now. We've tried a lot of different things. We've been up, we've been down. Anson Knowles used to tell me, well, it's all going to be over in 20 days. It's all going to be over in 2 weeks. It's all going to be over in whatever. And it's not over. And we're getting to the point now where the longer it drags on, the rougher this is going to be. It's the harder it's going to be. So what this really means, and I'm not going to spend the whole show on this, guys. I know it's not for everybody. Most people are just tired of hearing about Iran, but we're doing some interesting stuff there, and I think it's important to bring everything up to date. So what ought happen is I think there's 6 Arab states that Trump has kind of has an agreement with, that they're going to become the enforcement arm in the Middle East, which I think is the right thing to do. America does not need to be and ought not be the enforcement arm in the Middle East. That's one of the reasons they hate us so vehemently. So I'm just trying to burn through this really quickly. What needs to happen is those Arab states and Israel, who ought be the enforcement arm, they need to take over, and they need to be the ones to land on the shores of Iran. They need to be the ones parachuting in there. They need to be the ones that go boots on the ground, not the U.S. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't support them. We can't give them data. We can give them bombs. We can fly overflight missions. We can certainly support them because they need it. But it doesn't get. What do we gain by going into Iran boots on the ground? And this is the line I believe that Trump is trying to. I believe that this is the line that our man Trump is trying to walk, right? Like, he's trying to keep this campaign promise, no boots on the ground. Plus, I don't think he really wants boots on the ground. And at the same time, he's trying to empower. And I hate that word, but that's what it is. He's trying to lock down this this coalition, if you will, of Arab states that are supposed to become the enforcement arm in their area of the world. There's a couple of problems here. The first problem is Trump is Trump, and he wants the credit for solving the problem. He wants to be the guy. He wants to be the big dick guy that walked in and said, this is the way it's going to be. And by golly, that's the way it's going to be. That's what he wants. That's his nature. And he needs to step back. I'm critical of Trump on several things, and this is one of them. He needs to, instead of, look, doing the treaty stuff, that was great. Everything he's done is ranged from, yeah, that's okay, to, hey, that's great. But where we're starting to step on our dick here is we should not be the ones to invade Iran. We should be getting the people in the area, which, the countries involved: Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, the Qatari, and obviously the Saudi Arabia, and along with Israel. And if they actually step up and do what they're supposed to do with our support, then Iran becomes a less of an issue, because now it's not a bunch of Americans doing American shit and going in and just, now it's their Muslim brothers that are coming in and saying, hey, stop being assholes. Let's get a real government in here. This is a problem that we have to overcome to really deal with Iran. And I've been listening to various podcasters with, opinions ranging from carpet bomb everything, turn it into a parking lot, which I kind of agree with, and is my immediate gut reaction. Turn it into the world's greatest crushed gravel parking lot. Okay, that's fine. send the CIA in to perform another regime change. That's never worked for us in Iran. There's no reason to think it would work now. So that's stupid. Don't want to do that. And ultimately, I just don't see any way for us to do it successfully. We need the Arab states to do it, and they need to step up. They need to stop sitting off their ass and paying lip service to everything and just get it fucking done. And they're not. And that's the way it is. Now, let's talk about a little bit about what's going on, because I'm talking about theory and I'm talking about my opinion. Let's talk about what's going on, right? So right now, bombs over Iran have gone quiet for like 3 nights, I think. And that means that oil is tumbling right now. The White House is talking about space. There's now space for diplomacy, I think is the way they put it. About half of our country right now is still convinced the economy is in free fall, while the other half is literally screaming from the top of their lungs it's the greatest boom in history. I think it's always been that way. We can get into that in a few minutes. I'm not gonna stop right now and do it. And both of those things are half truths and incomplete. And let's get into that. Okay. The facts are that the war is roughly 5 months old. Okay. As I said earlier, my very rambling monologue. What's up, So Loud? How are you doing? Cheers to Lindsay Smith, who's listening in the background. I'm going to take a minute and recognize some of the people who have wandered in and made comments. I saw Steelman out there. Good to see you out there in the chat. And Vince Wilson has been in the background. Good to have him as a part of the crowd today. Brandon Ray, my good buddy Brandon Ray, and Mr. 13 is both out there in the chat today. It's awesome to have so many people. Natalia, my good friend Natalia is out there, and we've got some bass people out there. Uncle Guns is in the house. Good to see you. This must be one of the few channels that Uncle Guns is not a moderator on. I think everywhere I see Uncle Guns, he's a moderator. It's weird. It's awesome. J.K. Forte, I hope I said that right. Good to see you. Good to see you. Anyway, all right. So 5 months ago, we began what ought to have been, maybe a month or 2 month long expedition to basically execute a regime change in Iran. We didn't want to call it that, but that's exactly what it was. I don't care who you talk to. That's exactly what we were doing. Basically, we twisted Netanyahu's balls until so that he launched the missiles first, which is what we needed to happen. Because, to be honest with you, again, this isn't the more involved we are in this war in Iran, the worse it is, and the longer it takes to solve the problem. My opinion, and I'll go into that here in a few minutes. With the joint Israeli-U.S. strikes back in February, removed the previous supreme leader. It obviously, you guys have seen the damage that it did to their air defenses, their missile production, their command nodes, all of these, because they use a decentralized command structure, and we did a lot of damage on that. In June 17th, a couple of months after that, and last month actually, a memorandum of understanding. You guys, I don't know how much play that got in the news. I don't watch the news that much, but you guys probably heard there was a memorandum of understanding between Trump and Pezeshkian. Not really sure how to say this man's name. And it reopened the Strait of Hormuz on paper and kicked off the 60-day nuclear negotiation window. That MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, has collapsed in early July, a couple of days, about a week and a half ago. after Iran got their backs up and they resumed attacks on commercial shipping. The U.S. Has responded with a more limited but sustained campaign of strikes focused on mostly coastal radars, missile storage, drone storage, and their maritime naval capabilities. We're picking them apart, like we're picking them apart like kind of like a surgeon. We're doing surgical things here. Again, I think Trump really, really, really does not want to put boots on the ground. I think he feels like if he does, it's going to be really bad. And I think he's right. I think he'll lose all support for this war from everyone if boots go on the ground, or from 90% of the people that currently support the war. I think a lot of them will be very unhappy if boots hit the ground. Now, back in a couple of days ago, I was basically from when I was in Texas to today, we've had the longest interruption in the U.S. offensive operations since that restart earlier in the month. So Iran's army has stated publicly that it has also halted retaliatory fire as long as the United States holds its fire. We have mediators from Pakistan, Qatar, and Oman that are actively trying to negotiate these things, and shipping traffic in Hormuz is depressed. Now, Mikey made a great point about that yesterday when we were talking, and this is a deal. If you're an insurance company or a shipping magnate, if your corporation owns a container ship going through the Strait of Hormuz, or a tanker ship going through the Strait of Hormuz, the risk is high. Not just from Iran and not just from the United States, but there's still people out there, still bad actors that have nothing to do with either state that are misbehaving out there. Hold Your Fire by Rush, completely different meaning, or is it? Hey, I like Rush, man. Rush is a great band. So, and while we're the price of oil has dropped pretty hard in the U.S. With this pause, we're going to see how this goes. I'm not really sure. I don't. The problem is that this is not peace. This is not a new regime established that will work with their neighbors. This is not what we want. And what it is a tactical pause, if you will, that is driven by what I would say at this point to be mutual exhaustion of certain capabilities, mostly missiles, and the ability, the various methods we have of intercepting. Well, and I say we, I mean both sides. There's concern over our ability to intercept these drones and planes and missiles, and there's a very large concern over the stockpiles of those. The political calendar on both sides is ticking down as well. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the midterms. Iran obviously still wants long-term leverage over the world's most important oil choke point, which is the Strait of Hormuz. And but the regime itself is internally divided, and it just hasn't. They're still working together strategically, but that's about it. There's a lot of internal struggle in Iran amongst their own leadership, which I don't know that we could even call it leadership at this point. Now, again, I'm going to say that Trump is right to keep the military option alive and refuse a repeat of June, where the MOU structure front-loaded economic relief for Iran, Tehran, basically for Tehran, while then, but at the same time deferring this hard nuclear and behavioral questions from being asked. Same time, we have an endless high-intensity strikes going on without a clear political end state. It burns up material, creates more wounded Americans, even though it's a very slow rate. They're still getting wounded. And it hands the media, and mostly we're talking the left-wing media here, a permanent forever war narrative just as the midterms approach. And again, I go back to, this is part of, the midterms are bad. It's bad time to be for a president to be doing this. And I think Trump really needs to show some strength here. Netanyahu, I don't know if he's in Washington yet. I think he is. Maybe he's not, but he's coming. And if he's not, he's on his way. And that meeting is going to matter. Israel has the clearest and most important, or maybe not most important, but the most, they just have the clearest long-term interest in making sure any final arrangement does not leave the regime with a reconstituted nuclear and missile capacity, and a leadership that is largely anti-American, anti-Israeli, anti-basically anybody we don't like, and a regime that you just can't negotiate with very well. And I guess bottom line, strength without clarity simply becomes attrition. That's what we've seen so far. Clarity without the strength just becomes a bad deal. Another bad deal and a string of bad deals with Iran dating back to the 50s. We are in a very narrow space between those two failure modes right now, and we need to do better. We really need to do better. It's not just on Trump. It is certainly on the other countries who have been slated to become a coalition of force that it becomes the enforcement arm in the Middle East. That's the long-term goal. That's the long-term plan, and we need to get there. I didn't see anybody really asking any questions in the chat or anything. If you have them, pop them up there. I will answer them as best I can. If you have a comment or whatever, that's wonderful. You're free to ask that. Basically, at the end of the day, I think Trump is more or less doing what I want him to do, but he hamstrung himself in two ways. First, the no boots on the ground thing. It's very ambitious to think that we were going to gain a complete regime change without putting boots on the ground. That's tough. I mean, we got close. I mean, let's just be honest. We got pretty fucking close, but we didn't do it. And it was very, very ambitious to think that we could. All right. So I'm going to give me a second, guys. I got to take a little drink here. If you got questions, post them up. We're going to be switching gears now. We're going to talk a little bit about the economy, and we may get into some other stuff. While I'm at it, welcome in BIY, Believe in Yourself. Good to see you there. Please participate in chat. Chat is awesome. Get those likes up. Do all of the things that everyone begs you to do, and I tend to forget to beg to do. My man, Gorilla Polis, what is up? What is up? Good to see you. Good to see you. I am having a great Monday, actually. I'm having a wonderful Monday, other than I had to update the software in my camera because it decided to no longer work with my computer. C'est la vie. Such is the life. Yeah, do all the things. Like, the shares, the subscribes, do all of them. The next subject we're going to be talking about is the economy, and we'll get into that in just a minute. In the meantime, in Tennessee, we've got a very important race for governor, in my opinion. We have Marsha Blackburn, who I supported in her congressional race. and we also have a fellow named Monty Fritz, and I like Monty Fritz. And the more I've listened to what he has to say, I actually really like what he's putting down, and I think I think either of them will be okay for Tennessee. But at this point, I have to say that Monty Fritz I like him better, although I don't think that he can get done what he thinks he can get done. At least he has the stones to say it out loud, and that it needs to be done. So I'll keep you up to date on that. But that's kind of where it's at. I am going back to my normal schedule, guys, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the day shift. And we'll be talking about all of the things that we normally talk about in the day shift. We'll talk about news and current events. We will be talking about, we will generally do something with the economy or business. And if I'm feeling especially saucy, well, I might just talk about social issues. We'll see. And Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday nights will be the evening shows. I'll have some guests. I'm actually hoping to have Father Joseph on Wednesday or Thursday. I'm actually hope to talk to him today about that, lock that down. And also, if you watched the event in Dallas, I can't imagine why anyone would not watch the Dallas event, which was awesome. It was an amazing day of debates. Everybody killed it. They knocked it clean out of the park. It was awesome. But if you saw it, you probably saw Taylor Fogarty. I'm trying to get her back in. We had talked about her coming on the show to do kind of an interview, and I'm hoping to set that up. I'd like to set that up for Friday evening. But we'll have to see what her schedule is. And, but yeah, so, I think it's awesome. And, yeah, you guys, ready to get into this next part? Let's do it. Let's get into this. So the economy is insane right now. As I said earlier, when we were talking about Iran, there are people who think that, the economy is just going gangbusters, and other people who think it's in free fall, and we're all gonna lose everything. So let's get into this. So, and this is all about perception versus reality, guys. It always has been, always will be. So the numbers, and these are the latest that I have available. They do change, but just go with what I've got available. Our GDP, our real GDP, grew about 2.1% annualized in Q1. That's good. That's really good. Full year 2026 forecast, that basically, and when they're saying forecast, they're throwing darts at a wall here, but they're forecasting around 2.0. It's not boom. It's not bust. It's kind of even. I'll take that in an election year. Got to keep in mind it's midterms. June payrolls. Now, payroll information is hard to quantify, and I think that most of it's just fucking guesswork. But June payrolls came in soft at only plus 57,000. And this follow and it follows basically the previous months were stronger. But the 3-month average is still positive, and we aren't growing the economy by leaps and bounds, but it is growing, and payroll is staying even if a little soft. Headline CPI cooled down to about 3.5%. I could be wrong about that. It could be 3.7. I'm going from memory here. Unfortunately, I didn't make notes on that part. I just going by my memory. And that's from June, not July. And that's after the energy spike and a couple other things. The core is lower. energy prices remain in the political and household pain point. It just is. I have energy right now is a very interesting thing, and I could do a whole show on it. I'm not going to go down any. I'm trying really hard to stay on the path today, guys. So, bear with me here. And the thing that I mostly care about, business fixed investment, is it's just been a real engine, especially AI related equipment and intellectual property. It has just been pumping, and the stock market has been resilient because of that. Now, the reason there's a perception gap, that's what I call it. I don't know what anybody else would call it, but that's what I call it. Has to do with like consumer sentiment. What you guys think when you go out there to spend your money, or when you even think about spending your money. And the consumer sentiment and Trump's economic approval numbers are poor. Mid-30s approval, heavy disapproval on inflation and gas prices. People, obviously, a lot of us are feeling a higher cost of living, price at the pump. And it's not imaginary. I put gas in my truck too. I understand what it costs. And these energy shocks really transmit really quickly, and they absolutely hit both the kitchen table and the gas pump. And those prices have been elevated for months. And actually, I say elevated. They've been up, they've been down, they've been up, they've been down, they've been up, they've been down, because there's no stability when it comes to oil. And a lot of people just have a very low risk tolerance when it comes to energy right now. And basically, and I know, look, I understand this is like pretty dry stuff here, but a 2% economy growth with tight labor markets and strong capital expenditure is not a recession. It just isn't. It is also, at the same time, not broad-based prosperity that feels good to the median household because specifically of gasoline and food cost. And this is where I think that a lot of people are easily led astray, and we'll get back into that in a second. The top line resilience is real and is being carried disproportionately by high-end consumption. So people are still buying high-end goods. They're still buying homes. They're still buying, very, very expensive things. And there's a ton of investment in AI, and those two things are disproportionately carrying everything else. But when that happens, middle income families are going to feel a squeeze. Even if there's not a real squeeze, they're going to feel like there is, because they're going to be looking around and they're going to see these guys, buying Lamborghinis or Ferraris or taking, trips, and when they can't because of the price at the pump. So that's real. That's a real thing. They're not making that up. I understand where that's coming from. Longer term, though, this structural problem of energy security has to be solved. We cannot keep letting a single choke point and a radical regime set the price of American mobility and heating. And this is something that's been said for a long time, is that we're really, really, America specifically, because of the way that we've shut down our oil research, the way we do not pump oil out of our ground, the way that we are a consumer of oil while we are a holder of oil. And we make it very, very expensive here to do that. And other countries can do it cheaper because they don't have the controls, they don't have the regulations, they don't have all of the things, the penalties that American oil companies and energy production companies have. So I don't know any other way to say this, but that is a policy failure. We have a policy failure in this country. And it's not Trump's fault. It's not Obama's fault. It's not every single politician for the past 30 years has fucked this up, right? When we had E85 going like gangbusters, there were people who were, people in Louisiana were refining or developing a technique to produce E85 fuel and E100 fuel from pond scum, which was not only super cheap but very efficient way to gain the biomass needed to produce the ethanol. Those programs were shut down. When we were fracking in the north, in the central north area of the country, Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, when we were fracking, literally the Saudis were pissed off. All of OPEC, basically every other oil producing country was pissed off because the U.S. drove the price of barrel down below $50 a barrel, the first time in decades. And that's, of course, this is why they ended all of that. That's why they ended the Keystone pipeline and all of this. And so this is simple policy failure. This is our politicians bending us over, right, left, center. It doesn't matter because they all do it to some degree. Now, would I argue that I think that if we had more conservative people in office, I think it would be better? Absolutely, I think so. I think that I think we have a lot of stumbling blocks put in the way for us to have a legitimate oil and gas industry in this country. And I don't know what else to say about that, right? It's just a massive policy failure. It predates the Iran war by decades. And it's going to outlast everything else. Even if they were to open if magical peace pipe came out, everybody smoked it up, and they went out and tomorrow the whole thing was done, Strait of Hormuz is open, all of that. Sure, we'd have a temporary drop in oil prices, but down the road, it's still going to be a problem because we import so much of our oil, and we ought not do that. We should not do that. I understand why we do it. I disagree with doing it. Drill, refine, and build redundancy, or keep living through these cycles. That's our choice. We can't. There's no other choice, guys. There's none. That's it. It just isn't. And now we've got midterms are 100 days out, right? Generic ballot and forecasting models are currently favored very slightly the Democrats to take the House. I don't think they're going to. I understand that's what the data is kind of showing, but I don't believe that. The Senate is super tight, and it's probably going to lean Republican 100%. And the thing that's really interesting is the presidential approval is in the mid 30s, and that is historically toxic for the president's party. Yet we're seeing more and more people support conservative leadership. It's great. It's wonderful. Obviously, as I said earlier, the war and the price of gasoline are the two things that are weighing heaviest on voters' minds. What's up, So Loud? What is the fake news? What fake news you got for me? But anyway, as I alluded to earlier, or as I said earlier, Netanyahu is going to be meeting with Trump first time in first in-person sit down in months, I think since before the conflict started. Hey, what's up, Grumplestiltskin? Of course I made it home okay. I did screw up my flight times though, and I was stuck in the airport for a while, but that's all right. I'm going to get into I'm going to get back into, oh yeah, the Democrats are crazy, man. They're so crazy that they think they're going to retain that, or they think they're going to get the House. Man, yeah, Netanyahu's going to meet with Trump. We're going to see what that goes like. I think this is the first in-person sit down since the conflict started. We'll see how that works out. We'll get that. We'll get you guys there. What else should I talk about? Because I've just been rolling through this, man. This show's like been going really quickly. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Just blew through it in the first half hour. Yeah, that's if if anybody wants to come up to chat about this stuff, you're welcome to do so. Just hit me on Discord, or you can drop a link and see what's going on there. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the event. So I got it leading up to the event. I was super, super busy. I had a lot going on. I was trying to fix my airplane. My kid had a lot of camps. We were on vacation in Florida for like 12 or however many days. It was just really crazy time for me leading up to the event. And I was on the phone constantly trying to get everything arranged. The shocking thing about it was the rental place was crazy. First, they wanted to charge me double what my rental cost would have been, almost triple what my rental cost ought have been. And then so they wanted to overcharge me. I got that straightened out because of the drop-off times and stuff. We got all of that stuff straightened out. Then they didn't have everything I wanted. That was okay. Made it work. And then when we left, they said, we can't pick up on Saturday. That's an extra fee to pick up on Saturdays. We're going to pick up on Monday. And I said, okay, cool. So they I kid you not, they called me Saturday and they're like, hey, can we pick up? And I'm like, no, nobody's there. Why would anybody be there? You said you were going to be there Monday. So that was a big hassle. And I really do want to thank everybody who actually participated in the event, whether you came to it, whether you promoted it, whatever however you helped out. I really appreciate it. And leading up to it, we were supposed to have Andrew. That did not work out. There was a conflict with his schedule and some other things. No big deal. It happens. It's not like it wasn't a snub or anything. And so I don't think Andrew would do that to me. So, it's just the way it works out. So we had to fill that spot. We did awesome to fill that spot with Father Joseph and then Flow State. And Flow State actually did really good. I was really happy with Flow State. The way he debated, he actually brought notes. He had a notebook and he had notes. And while I don't think that he was, I'm not sure that he won. I wouldn't say that he won his debates, but he did a good job. And it's a great it was a great, both of them, both debates that Flo participated in were wonderful to watch. Jake Varr as well. I think Jake could have done better against LSP. I think LSP really brought the heat. I think Jake Varr did well. I'm not sure who won that one. I didn't honestly watch these guys, so I was busy doing a bunch of things. And so you guys would have to tell me who you thought won and why, what points you think they made and how they made them. But it was really great. Taylor and Stardust though I did not want that debate to end. I really didn't. I would have given them another hour to go back and forth. They were doing such a great job and making good salient points that I would have let it go another hour if I'd had the time. Debaters Do Dallas is a great name. It's very memorable. You guys watch, if you haven't seen it, watch it. You can we do have breaks in it, so you can kind of break it up into chunks and watch it. It's great. It's wonderful. There were some pain points on it. We bought t-shirt. If you would like a debate t-shirt, I don't have one here to show you. I don't know how many we have left. We do have some left. I'm pretty sure if you want a debate t-shirt, I think they're $20. You can cash at me or whatever. You can reach out to me, pay me, and I'll make sure one gets to you. The t-shirts are rad. The t-shirts are actually really awesome. And yeah. The Stardust one was happening as I was leaving during rush hour. The feminism was palpable. Yeah. Yeah, they were $20. Yeah. So they are really, really cool t-shirts. Grumple got one. The Grumpster is fully capable of testifying how great they are. They're really good shirts. They're really nice. Yeah, Stardust, that was a really great debate between Stardust and Taylor. I thought Taylor did very, very well. Yeah, really like that. Let's see what else stood out. Father Joseph was just awesome too. He, that was, all the debates were great. They were all great. I think the food was good. The guest, everybody that was there, if you were there, I really appreciate you being there because it was great. All the people were amazingly cool. One of the things that I'm constantly kind of shocked by is how well, people just pitch in. You didn't realize Vince's doghouse took an hour. Yeah. That Vince killed it. Honestly, I think Vince killed it. I think Vince was one of the ones I was kind of worried about. Vince was because I hadn't seen him debate at all, and I didn't really know that much about him. And but him and Tyler, man, it was so good. It was such a great debate. They both, and I kind of figured just what little I did know about Vince, that he was going to bring, facts, he was going to bring statistics, he was going to bring documentation. And I knew for a fact that Tyler was, because that's just how Tyler is. And bro, they absolutely crushed it. It was such a good debate to listen to and to watch. And the best thing about all of these debates is they got heated, but they kept control. Afterwards, they were shaking each other's hands. They were patting each other on the back. Everybody, it was a wonderful, wonderful time. If you guys ever get a chance to come to one of my debates, you should, because they're awesome. Yeah, he's been in the space around as long as you, approaching 10 years, but only the past few years is he definitely realized he's definitely not a conservative. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. things tend to be a lot more polite when you're within arm's reach. That's true. That's true. But even then, like I had people who would literally, like people I had just met, and I'd say, "Hey, could you help me out and do this?" And they would just do it. You know, they would just do it. And it was such a great event. It was so cool. The best thing, so for me, the best thing was all the help that we had because we needed it. Like everybody that pitched in, everybody that did anything to help out. I don't care how small it was. Thank you very, very much. I hope that we gave you a great event. I hope that you walked away from it wanting more, but satisfied with what you had. So that was my goal. We are going to try and do one in probably in Florida. I think I like Dallas. Dallas is cool. Well, actually, Dallas was hot. Dallas was so hot that the air conditioning was struggling to keep up. like it wasn't uncomfortable in there, but if you were under the lights for any length of time, you were going to sweat. The venue was amazing. I need to write Michelle, the lady that I was dealing with, a nice email explaining how awesome the venue was, and how much they worked with us. And if you were watching, one of the things you noticed is we had a lot of tech issues to start with, and that was because we were, for the first time, we were trying to do something that where we, basically it was my gear and Glenn's gear all together. And so we had Admiral Gibbs. I think we were using like two of my cameras, one of Glenn's cameras, Glenn's video switcher, and I think Admiral Gibbs' laptop. And it was amazing that it came together the way it was. And it, man, I tell you, it was so good. The camera quality was good. We did have some small problems with the biggest problem I think we had was, as far as cameras go, was just, occasionally one would drift out of focus or something. It wasn't anything big. The mics were interesting because I guess people didn't realize that the Samson mics have a push button so that you can mute yourself. And so Gibbs was really good about telling people to that the mute button was there, but sometimes they didn't hear him or he didn't say it quickly enough. It's awesome. Yeah, Glenn did awesome for such a short time frame turnaround. We all had to bring, because there's a weight limit on how much gear you can take when you're flying in. I did get some criticism from some people who were like, well, you should have had this, you should have had that. And I'm like, I have that. I have this, like people are like, oh, you should have this. I'm like, yeah, it's sitting right here. It's sitting on my desk, but I have to fly with it. And as it was, Glenn's suitcase got destroyed. He ended up having to pay a massive amount for the luggage, and because he was overweight, which I knew, and I told him to split the gear up into two bags, and he couldn't do that, and so he ended up paying a bunch of money in stuff. I brought cameras and lenses. We had the reason it looked so good is because we were prepared. I think I had all kinds of lenses, so we were able to get the right lens to get the right shot, and make it all happen. So for me, it really worked out. It was really a good, really good look, and super happy with the way everything worked out. Now going forward, if we do the event in Florida, that we'll probably drive to that. I've got a trailer that we can put everything in, and I'll send somebody. I'll basically have somebody Oh, you didn't realize we flew in with it? Yeah. I flew in with 5 cameras and all the cables and tripod, a couple of tripods. Glenn flew in with with a couple more like camera stands, not really tripods, but close. I mean, it was, yeah, we all flew in, except for Gibbs. Gibbs drove in, but he didn't really bring anything, but he brought the softbox lights. So, and, to set all of that up and do a 1-day event is crazy, right? Like normally, and in Florida is going to be a multi-day event. I will tell you that what we're looking at in Florida is a multi-day event. It's going to be it's not going to be just debate stuff. It'll be multi-faceted. We're going to have a bunch of different things there. We've reached out to a ton of different communities already. I've got interest. I've got people who want to rent booths. I'm looking for a venue right now. It's going to be awesome. And it's really going to be the case that we're taking this to the next level. We will not be with any other group. It will be my event. Sorry guys, I'm having to attend to some stuff. Grumple, if I had thought about it, I would have, you could have saved us a little bit because we ended up needing, we needed I forgot to bring well, I didn't have the weight to bring extension cord. There were a bunch of stuff that we ended up needing. So I will keep that in mind. I apologize, guys. I've just got to shoot out a text. My apologies. Apparently there was, obviously there was a lot of drama bullshit, which I kind of just don't give a shit about, but yeah, just don't care about it. Uncle Gunn says it was a really good event, Grid. I've worked conferences before, not easy unless you have the right crew, which he thinks I did. After all that hard work and dedication showed in the final product. Yeah, I've watched bits of it, and there are a couple of things that I would have liked to have done better. I would have, we just didn't have, if I were to do an event at this facility again, like if we go back to Dallas and we do this again, I would do it in the same facility. I would set it up differently. I would bring different equipment, and I think it would be, I think I could make it really awesome. There were some various conversations about, having, the background behind the debaters, it was the black wall, and then when it turned the corner, it was white, and it had painted like some light gray or green or whatever in it. And I actually like that. I like the contrast. I like that sense of depth, and it's really interesting to me. And somebody will say something like, "Well, it should have just been you could have just put a sheet or something behind them," and which is correct. I could have, but then you wouldn't have that sense of depth. You would basically, it would really not look right because they're just sitting in front of a screen, and that never really looks right. You don't get the sense of depth. You don't get the sense of I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Hey, the Princess. I haven't seen you in a long time there, Princess. How are you? How are you doing? I appreciate that, Princess. Right. Grumpelstiltskin's right. With that, unless the screen has texture and event branding, it just does not look good behind you. We purposely chose where we put people, because when the camera's shot from the side, you could see that they're in a corner, and it added that sense of depth to the shot, which we wanted. I don't want people to think that they're sitting with their backs against the wall. I want them to think that there's depth, because there is. Now live, Grumple was there. He saw it live. It looked okay. If I were doing this with 200 people live, we would have refined it a little bit more. But, I think for the venue, everything worked out. So, Pronsis, what was your favorite part of the GridCon? GridCon 2, Debaters do Dallas. Also, you, Grumple, I'd really like to know what your favorite part was, or what parts stood out. Also, while they're typing, one of the things I don't think you guys realize is the sound control that we had. We actually had Glenn and Gibbs in the same area, and there was no bleed over because of the way we had adjusted the mics and the way the sound, where we had everybody. Where Glenn was, there was a kind of a wall-ish where their little kitchen area was, and so the sound did not immediately, it didn't really make it over to Gibbs's area unless they were screaming, right? You couldn't hear, the mics weren't picking it up. From experience, it's a lot harder to run those events than it seems. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This is the second one. Both were successful. The next one's going to be very, very big, I think. I think it's going to be really large. So, I've already got interest from some big people who want to be a part of it. It's an iterative process. With 2 under your belt now, you can evaluate what will be big value improvements, even low effort or small purchases. Just knowing tweaks can be a big deal on outcome. Absolutely, yeah, I agree with that. And this is not actually, so I've done a lot of events before, but they were all for the race team stuff and not like this. But I'm really proud of the way that the sound control that we had, and the mics, the way we had everything adjusted so that you couldn't. When we first set up, the way the mics were, if you talked anywhere in the building, the mics would pick you up. So we adjusted everything, kept testing, and kept working with the microphones so that the audio was great, but you couldn't pick up Glenn. People could have a conversation and you didn't hear it in the audio of online, which is what we wanted. And I knew we could do that because the mics I have are very sensitive, but they're very adjustable. They're very, very good. So nobody wants to come up and hang out. Maybe I'll go find somebody and jump on their show and pick on them for a little while. Maybe I'll do that. Who's out there? Who's live right now that I could go chat with? No, I didn't actually notice any. I did not notice any echo off of the stone, but see, the reason that I picked the facility I did is because the people who own it, they do commercials, they do other activities in there, and presentations and all that kind of thing. So they've really figured out all of the sound, and really figured it out. I think the reason there were no echoes on that from that stone is, first of all, Glenn's facing away from it or to the side of it, and there's the kitchen door wall was here, and then it had that rounded kind of not really a dais, but it had that rounded wall on the other side of it, so the sound wasn't pushed over to where Gibbs was. That's what it was. I just did that one. Any racing creative interpretation of rule stories? Sure. I got all those kinds of things. Those are, we can talk about that a long time. Just depends on which era we're talking. I've creatively interpreted rules for a very, very long time. Because why would I not? Well, maybe I'll go over and hang out on OGs and see what's up. What are they talking about today? What are they talking about? If nobody will come up over here, we'll go over there. So the interpretive rule story. While I'm sitting here waiting, I'll give you one. So, I had actually there were rules written because of me, and I always take a lot of pride in that. One of them was one of the better stories is we had a pretty heavy car that we were allowed. Basically, the sway bar was free, the mounts were free. It had to be contained within so far of the stock location, blah blah blah. And so what we did is we actually cut the sheet metal out on both sides of the car above the steering rack, and then we welded a tube in. Because what happened is that the sway bar was originally mounted to just some sheet metal, and so when you add slicks and you go really fast, it would twist the sway bar in those mounts, and then the sway bar binds up, and then now you're adding stiction to everything. It just becomes a problem to deal with, and so and you can't really. It's very inconsistent as far as what the driver's feeling. It'll be perfect in one corner and it's really weird in the almost the exact same corner, or this time through the corner it does right, the next time it's got a little bit too much friction and now it doesn't do the right thing. So what we did was to drill a hole in the sheet metal above where the mount mounted, and then weld a steel tube in, and when the steel tube went across, and we welded a plate to that, and then we put a bearing in there. And then we used a 3-piece sway bar that went all the way through that rode in bearings. And because it was in the steel tube, it couldn't bend or twist. And so now the even with the maximum amount of deflection, you could still spin the bar. So then we of course we put the end links on it, and that really created a situation where you had basically a friction-free, stiction-free mount for the sway bar, or for the way the sway bar worked, and it was perfectly legal because we were within that 2-inch tolerance of whatever, it's fine. So no problem. It took them a while to figure out what we were doing, and the other thing is it wasn't supposed to be. You weren't supposed to use. You were supposed to use rubber bushings, and we were using bearings instead of bushings. They were all steel, so the bearings were down in the tube, and at the front there was just a polyurethane disc that looked like the bushing. And so again, I know this is hard to picture, but when this side would lift up and twist start twisting the bar, there was no friction there, so it reacted really quickly and really predictably because it's on roller bearings. When you looked at it from the outside, it looked like it literally just looked like a sway bar with regular rubber bushings, just mounted weirdly. And I got away with that for a full season, and then we kind of fessed up at some point that's what we did. Actually, I think the way that they ended up figuring out I was doing is I put in a request to do it, and then they realized that that's what I was doing all along, and then they wrote a rule saying that you can't do that. I mean, there's a lot of things like that. Not exactly cheating, but every single car we ever ran, I would take the front bumper reinforcement out, and we would build a tubular aluminum welded front bumper, and then and reinforce it. And it took some weight off the car, which we needed. But the big thing that it did is it gave us something we could push with, because the sheet metal front bumper reinforcement is designed to just bend and go away. But you can't put a big piece of steel up there, because then if you do have an actual impact, it tears the front of the car apart, and then you end up having to retub. So the compromise is to build it out of aluminum, which will take all of the damage and absorb a lot of abuse, but you can still push another car with it pretty hard, and not really do any damage to the bumper or to the car, which is more important. And so, and that was perfectly legal, but it was outside the intent of the rules. Kind of where I operated a lot of times was outside in that gray area between not exactly illegal, but also not within the spirit of the rules. Yeah, sacrificial. If you can picture something that kind of sort of looked like an erector set bumper, but it was all welded aluminum, that's what it looked like, kind of. So I mean, I just did all kinds of stuff. And I caught other people cheating a lot. Like we were supposed to all use a logging system, the same logging system to measure basically every parameter on the car. And one of them was for the boosted cars, they had a map sensor, and you had to put it in a very specific place. And so what like Cadillac did is they bought like 200 of those sensors, and then they just went through and picked the ones that were, out of tolerance in the right direction, where instead of reading 8 pounds of boost, it would read 12 pounds, or pardon me, instead of when it was 12 pounds of boost, it would actually read 8. And they would literally go through and mark and test them and mark them and put them in place. And so, and there's no way to detect that, right? There's no way to detect that. So when you look at the data in the car, the data says that it's doing 8 pounds of boost. It's the right part number. It's totally a legal part, but it allows 12 pounds of boost through the car. And the only way you can actually find that is to do a bunch of math on airflow and see how much airflow is actually going through the car. And that's the only way you're going to find it. So, I mean, there are other ways too, but that's the easiest way to find it. And so there's a lot of things like that we did. There was a lot of things where like Honda had their power window switches were there, since they didn't have any windows, the power window switch was still there. And that was their ECU control, so they could change maps and power level. And so what they would do is they would push it in and hold it like they were setting the memory, and that would tell the ECU that the next entry was the map that they wanted, and then they could choose between 2 or 3 different power levels. And then once and they had like a traction control map for rain. They had I mean, they had a lot of stuff. And I was a rules lawyer. I mean, that's kind of what I did. Like as a team owner, my entire job was to sit down and read the rule book and figure out where I could push the envelope and still be legal, right? So like in my MX-5, the MX-5, we were not allowed to install anything that could change the tune of the car. We didn't. We reflashed the ECU, and we used a factory cruise control to the factory cruise control switch, which did affect the throttle, which did affect a bunch of things. We simply made it the map selector, and again, you put it, you push the button, and it would be, you would have your 55 mile an hour pit speed limiter. So the driver would just come in like third gear with his foot on the floor, and it would be 55 miles an hour straight down, wouldn't break any rules. It's easy. Push it 2 more times and you're into map 2 you'd be in map 2, which map 2 was a high power map. Map 3 was the low power map. The low power map was when we were going to dyno the car, or if we looked like we were going to be inspected, or if we had to go to, if we were in Park Firm and it looked like they were going to dyno us or anything, you would just, hit the button and it would put you back in low power map. There was a fuel economy map, which gave us power, but gave us best fuel economy. There was a wet weather map, which actually integrated the fly-by-wire throttle with the ABS. And it literally basically became traction control in the car. And it's all technically legal to do that, because we didn't add anything to the car, and we didn't repurpose like the power window switch, right? Like that power window switch doesn't have anything to do with that. They had to actually wire that into the ECU. We didn't do anything. The cruise control already went to the ECU. It was already part of the system. All we did was change some settings on a reflash, and reflashes were legal. So technically we were legal. Technically. Now they did change it later to say that the ECU tune could not be changed by the driver, right? So they clarified that the driver couldn't change the ECU tune. So what we did then is we put the cars are all equipped with radio. We put a radio receiver in there where you could push the button, basically like on a radio controlled car. And we then were able to remotely select the map on the car. So the driver would radio, I need more power, or man, I'm really low on power, or whatever. And we would, as soon as he came by the pits, they pushed the button on the remote control. The ECU would, obviously the radio in the car received the transmission, and it told the ECU to be in high power mode or go to low power mode. It's just, this, is what it is. Right. Yeah. RC car action. And we already had, a lot of this technology we already had in the car. So we already had we had beacons around the track to give segment times. So the beacon communicated with the car. All we ended up doing was making the beacon that was in the car communicate to the ECU to give us segment time. So we just ended up, look, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that it was legal. It was legal and we could do it. And, they couldn't stop me. As a matter of fact, I don't think I was ever actually caught for any of that. I was never told I couldn't do it, other than we were a little concerned because we do have in-car cameras. And so they can see him toggling. They can see him toggling the cruise control button. Right. I think that there were and they could see other drivers toggling. They can see what the driver's doing in the car. And so what ended up, I don't know. I don't think they ever caught anybody exactly, but what they did is somebody got drunk and admitted something or something like that, and they figured it out. And then of course we're off to the races. And these guys, the rule makers are like, well, we'll just make it so that the rule actually reads can't be adjusted by the driver. And that way, if they, if they saw us dinking with the cruise control switch, something like that, it was fine. And then, of course, the answer to that ended up being that they made the driver's the steering wheel look like a computer keyboard. It's got dials and shit all over it, so you don't know what those things do. The driver's sitting there spinning a dial. He could be getting a drink, or he could be setting the shocks or something like that. So which we also weren't supposed to do. But yeah, I did a lot of stuff. So, but all technically legal. I never actually set out, and in general, I didn't set out to break the rules. I just set out to kind of bend them a little bit, make them more useful. Because a lot of times, I felt like they weren't really that. Oh, that was really loud. Yeah. Anyway. Should I go over and jump on OG stream and talk over there for a little bit? Breaking rules can get you DQ'd. That's true. Well, even if you don't actually break the rules, you can get DQ'd. We got DQ'd for ride height one time when there's actually a rule covering why my car was low. Like there's actually a rule. Sorry, so this was at Miller Motorsports Park in Tooele, Utah. Still there. The track still exists. They've changed the name of it a couple of times. Larry Miller died, and who built the track. So it's no longer Miller Motorsports Park. But we did a thing there. So there was a whole thing where at the time we were doing battle mostly against the Volkswagens, but there was a Mazda 323 or a Mazda 3 Turbo Speed 3 that was in our group. It shouldn't have been, but it was. And the cool thing is that the guy who drove it was an idiot, my opinion, and he would burn the tire. He'd burn the tires off of it through the first part of the race, and then we could catch it. And that worked out well for me. So we're in Utah. We're very fast there, doing really well. And I had a guy, a really good driver in the car. And there was at one point he went off roading. He was just on somebody, a slower car, and he just ended up having to go slightly off track to avoid hitting them. He was just that much. He could go that much deeper in the corner. He was that much faster. And when he went off track, when he went what we call off roading, he bounced around a lot, and it dropped the exhaust down about a quarter of an inch, and we failed ride height in the post-race inspection. Now, the rules say that any damage incurred on the track is the rules say that that's not a real thing. That you can't get DQ'd for that. However, because in pre-race inspection we had been like 1/8 of an inch low, even though we fixed it, it was already noted that we were low, and so when we were low after the race, they gave us a DQ. I think we were third, and they DQ'd us, which was, that happens. It's all right. I was pretty pissed about it, but what can you do? Yeah, whatever. All right, let's see what they're talking about over on OG and see what they're talking about over here. All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, let's go talk to these guys. How about that? Let us see. I'm just like backstage hanging out. They're just kind of like rambling on about stuff. We'll go see if we can start some problems. All right. In the meantime, while they're doing that, I'll talk about some other stuff. So, um, again, I'll be live again on Wednesday. I won't be alive. I won't be live tonight or tomorrow. I don't think, unless something happens to make that necessary. I don't know what they're talking about over there. It's just prattle. Seems like prattle. Seems like prattle. A lot of prattle. Prattle, prattle, prattle.
Needed. And I would listen to her read them off. I'm like, hell, I'm not even leaving the country because of that.
It's a lot of prattle.
Shockingly, all that my daughter needed to go to Africa was a DTP booster. Or the
Prattle,
DTaP,
prattle, prattle.
Dithipia, pertussis, and then the other two I can't remember. Yeah, all she needed was that booster shot. They gave her
We can keep talking about other cool stuff. So,
just in case, or no, excuse me. She when she gets home, she's gonna do a week of doxycycline just to make sure.
And nobody up there has got keys.
And they had put her on. It's a form of. It's like amoxicillin and another medication.
What was your favorite part of the debate show?
Treat and prevent malaria.
Not the debate show, of the event. What was your? And it doesn't have to be a debate or anything like that. What was your favorite part?
Other part of the medication is the one I don't think she was good with.
Probably should have.
And so her first couple days there, God bless her. Like before she left, she wasn't feeling real great, and I was like, I think it might be, but she was like, I need it, and then she found out when she got there that there's other people in her group that had similar reactions, and so there's several of them not taking medication.
Is she liking the food up there? Is she said anything about?
Yeah. Actually, like her palate has like she just told me, she's like, guess what I like now? Lentils, and I'm like, no way.
Yeah, when my daughter-in-law cooks, I love.
I like that song by Toto. Toto's pretty good.
Oh, I love making Mediterranean food. I love it. We, like I said, we have friends who live in Israel. They were our neighbors here for 10 years. We had our babies at the same time. Our sons were literally born like 2 or 3 months apart.
What was your favorite
went to the
part?
Same preschool and everything.
Of my
and
what did you like about it?
You know, we took turns babysitting. We dug each other out in the snow, the whole nine. So when the husband was actually here working at Cornell University on some study, I don't remember what it was.
Maybe I can get us
But
onto a
then
real
they went back over there, and they were like, anytime you like one day, I was just like,
talk
hey,
about some
remember when
social
you
issues.
said we're always welcome to visit?
Talk about some feminism,
That is,
anti-feminism.
that's why there's a couple in our church that do mission work, and they're 85.
I want to fight with somebody a
They
little
just
bit.
left for
Nobody
Africa last week.
really wants to fight with me.
Imagine being 85 and traveling overseas, like just the shots, and how would your immune system handle?
It
But
can
they
be
said,
a
we do it
lot.
every year. We do it every year. It's no big deal. I'm like,
Well, like I said, she really didn't even need that much medically. Like I said, the malaria meds, which she's not even taking. So in all actuality, a
Doobie-doobie-doo. Man, this is
the
boring.
DTaP booster before she went, and a little bit of
You guys think that
doxycycline when she comes
all
home. That ain't
women
nothing.
are actually
Really, it's not.
feminists,
I
depending
think
on
that
how
in
you
all
define that.
actuality, what's way
I'm kind of interested
harder
in that.
is from what it seems anyways, is the adjustment to the climate change. Because
Okay.
it's 110 there every day. You know, and she's up on a mountain in 110 degrees after leaving New York.
shout out to our kids for being fearless.
God bless them. You know, I was just talking with Becca about this the other day.
My
I've
God,
noticed
proud.
with this new generation, like the kids between, I'd say 16 to 26, right?
You think some are based?
That decade.
I agree. But there's
they
like
are
a
either
whole thing going on
completely
out in the world
socially
right now about
inept where
these
going
covert
out to
feminists.
dinner is terrifying for them,
Oh,
or
I
they're
really want to have a
absolutely
discussion about it. So if these guys let me get on, I'm gonna try and like
It's
push
true.
the envelope
like
here a
we
little
just saw that whole thing happen with Kel the other night. Kel is one of those fearless social butterflies who just wants to interact with everybody and get to know who people are. And I say God bless her for it. I think it's a very
What's up, a helping hound? How are you?
innocent trait. You
Good
know
to
what I'm
see you.
saying? It's a very,
Yeah.
I'm in the
you
back.
know,
I'm
God didn't
waiting to be
make
brought
us
up.
to be fearful. Man has made us to be fearful.
It's all good though.
That's what we were talking about in Song of Solomon.
What do you guys think about
It's only
covert
men
feminists?
that shame
What do you guys
each
think
other.
about that?
God never shames us.
Do you think
We shame
that
each
there
other.
is such a thing?
Which
Do you
is
think
crazy because
that
we're all trying to make it.
that
Like,
it's just a term made up to
Well, that's
kind of just
you're just
dig at people?
the world.
It's that
do you
whole
think?
idea of sin being in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just I saw a really cool short earlier that it's an
Have the
older
Mormons
video
been
clip
around for
from
100
an
years?
older
I
video
wasn't
where
sure
this
the Mormons have been
gentleman
around for 100
is
years.
talking about.
I could be wrong.
Hang on one second. I'm sorry.
All right, you're fine. Y'all make sure to hit the like button, support OG. Y'all know he brings us this content every day. Where else would we be hanging out at? Supposedly great gumbo from Malaria. Oh,
He just had to ask about an extension cord. Sorry.
No,
So it kind of runs in everybody. Gematria gets a bad rap, right? It's not a matter of actually seeing how many
we're talking about
connections you
gematria.
can find with numbers. There are biblical meanings for numbers.
Right.
Like the number 3 means complete. So the number 7 also has a form. It has a meaning that's kind of like a form of completion because God created
We're talking
the
gematrias.
world in 7 days.
Oh shit!
Just as 3
Zach's
has the
gonna magically
completion because
appear.
of the Trinity. So this guy broke down 666 and pointed out scripture talking about how 9 is the number of consciousness. And if you were to take it, like he cited, in fact, I saved it. Maybe when OG comes back, we can play it. He's talking about how if you take the 666 and you break it down, it gives 9 for the right side of the brain, of the right side of consciousness, the Christ-like consciousness, and 9 for
All right, look, guys,
the
I'm waiting to be brought up. I really want to talk
nature
about
of
covert
man,
feminism,
right? And so it comes
and see
down
if we can
to
get something
which
going on there,
side
because
do
I don't
you
believe
put
in
all
covert
of your
feminism. I think
effort
you're
and
either a
energy
feminist or
into.
you're not a feminist.
However,
But covert
his
feminism seems to be something that's being
his
being pushed.
hypothesis or whatever is that man, something about the nature of man is the beast that's being discussed, because 9 would be that godlike part of us, and 9 would be the sinful side, and it's a matter of which bit do you feed. I'm really
All right,
putting
so while
it
I'm
very
waiting to be
poorly.
brought up here, guys,
The video,
what do you
actually, I mean,
guys-
like,
what
I
do you guys
saved it
think
for a
about,
reason. So I was like, I want to double
any of that?
check
Do you
those.
guys
I mean, like,
believe
he
they're
gives
covert
scripture
feminists?
and everything.
Anyone?
So I
Anyone?
was like, hey,
Bueller?
that's something I want to read more on.
Bueller?
Fuck was I going with this?
So, I actually
I
met
distracted
Cynthia.
my. Where's Grid? How come Grid 1 hasn't yelled squirrel at me yet?
We were talking.
I squirreled myself. Oh my God, Cynthia. At my own show, like the first 30 minutes, I was covering Flo's God debate.
Yeah.
And we were waiting for OG to come. So we were just kind of shooting the shit for 30 minutes. And somebody said something, and Grid compared me to the dogs in the movie Up, how they're like squirrel, and the attention gone. And I just squirreled myself.
OG stepped away real quick, Grid. We can't bring you up.
I'm sorry. I would bring you up. So he's waiting in the back to call me a squirrel. That, you have no idea, man. That warmed my heart so much.
Last night when we went out, Grid, Flo, Katie, and I, we were all wearing your Grid shirt.
Yes, it is woman prattle. We were told to prattle.
I just walked back in the room where he's
What's up,
prattling.
man?
He told us to prattle.
Yeah, I had to take Tucker out for a good old exercise.
So much woman prattle in one little tiny bit. There are t-shirts still available if you guys want t-shirts. I don't know how many. Probably not very many, but there's still some available.
Do you have a 5X? Joe Cool would like a 5X shirt.
5X? No, we did not. Well, I can have one made, but I don't.
I couldn't believe he asked for a 5X.
If he wants a 5X, I mean that's a special order.
Holy stop it, Joe. You are not a 5X.
So
I'll hit you up for one. Actually, yeah, I'll hit you up in Discord.
So what? Since you guys are just prattling, I've been besieged lately with people who want to discuss covert feminist. I'm not sure there is such a thing. I think you either are a fucking feminist or you're not a fucking feminist.
What's a covert feminist? What does this
I
mean?
would love to know.
Okay, I have a theory on this.
I'm listening.
I'm all ears. Well, actually, I'm just listening. Also, I'm live, by the way. So
the idea of covert feminism comes in with women who are like, I am not a feminist, but in all actuality, because of our society, all of us have some feminist in us. And so I think we almost covert feminists ourselves, because we don't.
Wouldn't it be more like that you're just feminine? I mean, feminist has a very specific kind of definition to it.
I haven't asked that. You know that Taylor chick that you had debate the feminist, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you notice how those women agreed on a lot of the same things. Where a woman who says they're not a feminist and they don't like go lock in step with feminists, but they still agree on the whole women should be empowered, women should be head of household, women should run CEO, they should run corporations. I didn't
hear Taylor say any of that.
Well, it can be assumed that she would agree that
why?
That should be allowed.
Why? I don't think
they agreed on
she would believe
most other points.
I didn't hear them agree on much of anything.
So
which is what made it a great debate, and I didn't want it to end, was because they kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth because they wouldn't agree, or they would halfway agree. Like, I mean, I don't actually, the idea of quote unquote empowering women. I find that to be a very interesting.
Thank you for your dono, Lady V. I appreciate it. Good.
I find that to be a very interesting
Concept
thing to say, because I think that, I mean, ultimately, I don't even know what empowered means, and I'm not really sure that I buy that anybody's actually empowered. If empowered means that you have self-confidence, I like self-confident women. Mousy women, I just run them over. Like, they don't even exist to me. I have a very strong personality, and so go ahead.
That's exactly what we're talking about, though, is if a woman is too outspoken, then they must be a feminist, or God forbid that they're like, I don't think a husband should be talking to his wife in this manner. That'll earn them the title of being a feminist as well. So I think it's all going to depend on who you ask, but regardless, we all
is feminism being used as a catch-all for things men don't like?
Yes.
For some men, yes. Some men, yes. Truthfully.
Okay.
The people that you keep hearing use it, yes. But covert feminism is when, and this is something that
I don't think feminism can be covert, though. That's my problem with the whole premise. I don't think feminism can be covert.
It's not covert, because I've talked about this a couple times on the channel, right?
Right.
It's inherently, by us having a liberal society in the West, women are going to be feminist. They're going to stand up for women's interests. They're going to do this, that, and the third, right? And it's not going to stop because we're a liberal society. So the whole calling them covert feminists, it's just a catch-all for what men don't like, is in my opinion.
I would argue back. I would push back on that and say that where the covert part comes is that you will get some women who are hell-bent, like, I'm not, like, they will go the extra mile to say whatever they can to not appear as a feminist, even though they secretly hold those ideals.
But that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I could secretly in my heart of hearts want to be a terrible human being. But because I am a nice human being doesn't make me, my actions prove what I am. Me believing, me in the back of my head believing something is totally fucking irrelevant. That doesn't make me a bad man. But me literally wanting to split somebody's skull open when they talk to me doesn't make me a bad or angry man. And that's bullshit to say that, well, they're secretly in the back of their head, they're entertaining these feminine thoughts. This is, I want to stop the bullshit because I keep hearing this. Look, in my mind, you're either a feminist or you're not a feminist. It's A, B. There's no covert. There's no hidden. There's none of this bullshit. It's just you are or you aren't.
As a woman, and I'm sure Cynthia will back me up on this, we will deal with women frequently who will say one thing in the presence of you men, but say something and say things and behave differently when they're only in the company of other women. And that's what I'm referring to.
Men do the same thing.
I was like, you mean they were women? You've
never seen men talk shit to each other? I mean, like these are impossible standards. So this is my position right now. And I'm trying to understand covert feminism because I keep hearing people talk about it, but I've never seen it. And this is my position. I think that covert feminism doesn't exist. You are either a feminist or you are not a feminist. You can have feminist traits and not be a feminist. Okay. Just like a dude can, in some ways, be a complete fucking moron, but still be a patriarch, can still be a leader, can still be a man of his word and all of those things, right? Like I don't think that we can pigeonhole people like that. You either are a thing or you are not a thing. You can have traits of many things, but that doesn't make you that thing. And this is, and the reason that this comes out. So I have this problem with someone who constantly wants to, instead of confronting leftists, instead of confronting the actual problem people, what they want to do is they want to go out and find Christian, generally, women who seem to be traditional or whatever, and this person wants to call them out for being covert feminists. All of them. Beth, you would literally be called a covert feminist.
I have been repeatedly,
and I don't see, and this is my problem, right? Like, I would say that you occasionally have a feminist kind of position on something, right? But that doesn't make you the Antichrist. That doesn't make you a covert feminist, right?
The ruling on the Antichrist is still in session, but I mean, doesn't make her a feminist.
You know what it is, Grid? You know how you get some people who use faith as both a shield and a cudgel at the same time? I think that feminism is falling into the same bucket where it's being used to, oh no, the feminists are coming at me, and then also being like, you're a dirty feminist because I don't like what you're saying, even though, I mean, it's things that are just very much bred into our society. And I mean, like, there shouldn't be, even if you want to go by Christian ethics, like that's one of the big things that I hear is like the tone policing thing between a husband and a wife. And it's like a husband who professes to be a Christian man would have a conduct with which he treats his wife, who is supposed to be his most valuable helpmate. Yet,
before you get too far afield, let me interject here.
That was the end of it there.
Okay, great. That worked out. That was like good timing on my part. So let's just say that I know a promiscuous woman.
Okay.
In every portion of her life, she is submissive. Is she a feminist? Because she opens her legs for basically any dude.
No.
That's the thing. That's where it depends.
What? See, I got you.
Well, this is the thing, is the immediate jump to would be to say yes, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that she thinks that women deserve protection or being raised up to a higher standard or anything like that, or a higher position. So no,
I'm sure somebody's putting that pussy on a pedestal. I'm going to be honest with you right now.
The question is, does she go around acting like no one should talk bad about her, or no one should judge her for it? It's nobody's business.
I don't think that makes her a feminist. I don't want to be judged. I mean, does that make me a feminist? I don't want people to judge me.
When you're when you're trying to make it social policy, when you're trying to change social policy, or you're trying to change society, it'd make you a feminist.
I think it's a new buzzword. It's taking the place of the pill society.
Well, it's come out of the pill society. Sorry, Beth, I interrupted you.
There you go.
Out of the pill
answer.
society because the first thing they said was that, well, first of all, they had red pill, and everybody was, everybody flocked to the red pill, but the red pill is basically male feminist and men that cannot exist without feminism, because in order to ply the red pill, in order to be the dude, in order to have all these women, arm candy, and in order to do all of these things, it necessitates to some degree treating women like shit. And not only that, but it also means that you never, their prescription,
you're never accountable.
Yeah, the prescription of holding women accountable but not themselves is fucked up. But the idea, but beyond that, it's their doctrine of body count matters for women, doesn't matter for men. Body count is, an indicator of a woman's level of promiscuity, but not for men. A man can't be promiscuous even if he has 100 bodies, and yet women can be promiscuous if they have 10 bodies.
Double standard. Yep.
Yeah.
It's all about double standards, but yet and then of course they've gone away from it because literally everybody called them out on it, including Andrew. about the, a man should, fuck 50 women before he even thinks about getting married, which, by the way, that's a really fucked up idea.
It's stupid.
When men are out, these are the same motherfuckers that are out there talking to men that can't get a fucking date, telling them to go fuck 50 women. That's insanity.
Oh, MGTOW.
This was that's not MGTOW, Chuck. Stop.
No, it's not MGTOW. It's red pill.
Yeah, it's not MGTOW.
But in order to do that, you have to you basically are encouraging feminism in and of itself because those are the women who are. Yeah, go ahead.
Misandry and misogyny. You're societally encouraging misandry and misogyny at the same time.
Yes.
Feminism and the red pill is what is dividing men and women in our society, and it needs to fucking stop. Did you know that the same mental problems that women have from having multiple sexual partners, I think it's like past 5 or 10. Mm-hmm. It's one of those. Men get the same intimacy issues, same mental problems from the same amount. Yes. We're meant to pair bond, and the higher IQ you are, the more you're meant to pair bond.
Well, but I think, first of all, the science on pair bonding very inconclusive. Red pill put that shit out there like it was fucking gospel. now they're having to retract. So basically, all the shit that
I've never heard them talk about pair bonding.
It's like their biggest thing. It's like their biggest thing is men can fuck 50 women and it doesn't matter because.
But they're wrong. If they're saying that, they're wrong.
I understand that. But the idea of pair bonding, the science of pair bonding is not conclusive.
It's RK selection theory. It's the science pretty conclusive.
No, I don't know. But anyway,
have you ever researched RK selection theory instead of like the red pill version of pair bonding?
No, I researched the science on the chemical reaction and the dopamine levels and that are reduced are produced by pair or that are produced, which in the pair bonding claim is that the more times a woman has sex with different partners, that that dopamine hit is reduced to the point where she just doesn't bond with you. She doesn't care. So
it's not even
the science
it's not even about the dopamine or the chemicals. Pair bonding is where you're supposed to just work together with one another, search one partner out for the anyway.
No. Hold on, we're talking past each other.
Yeah. I realize
pair bonding, as far as a red pill and most of the world is concerned, is literally the chemical reaction a woman has when she's getting fucked.
But that's what I'm telling you. That's just red pill baloney nonsense.
That's bullshit. That's just total bullshit.
Look up RK selection theory and how RK selection theory and how it describes pair bonding. Because RK selection theory is either you breed like rabbits and you have multiple partners and you have a bunch of single mothers, or you breed for life and have stable.
But that's not something that. All right, so. But that has nothing to do with pair bonding. Pair bonding is a chemically, at least according to science, is the chemical reaction women have to bond to a man, and it's reduced in theory, which I believe is bad science. I really think it's bad.
It's a two-way street, though, when you pair bond.
Actually, what I did see was I saw a more recent study that said that it comes down to
oxytocin,
whether or not she gets ejaculation into her, that can create a strange bond where it actually changes her. It doesn't change her DNA, but it changes a lot about her, and for whatever reason, the whole idea of being. I mean, there's
there's a lot of paths to go down there with the science of it, but in Secta 1701 is right. The oxytocin, it's the oxytocin release, and what science is now changing their mind about is the original. What they said is that with a woman who has sex with multiple partners, eventually that oxytocin release gets pushed down and she's unable to pair bond. So then she becomes a whore, basically, or not capable of.
If you
trivialize anything enough.
Wait, hold on. Because this person is Kaleidoscope, and this is where the K selected is a pair bond capable. R selected are less likely to pair
because
bond.
of chemical reaction. Because of the chemical reactions from sex.
You got a problem in chat there.
It's not
OG.
it's not just the chemical. It's not just the chemical reactions. There's more to it than just the chemical reaction.
I mean, I understand there's a philosophy to it as well, but the science is what the red pill has been pushing, and they're wrong about it. I think they're wrong about it. I think that they're literally
not pushing science; they're pushing pseudoscience. They're pushing philosophy.
No, they're pushing the science. They're literally pushing that this is a chemical reaction that you cannot avoid. That women
Grid here. I'm
more
going to post it in
partners,
the
they
back
quit
chat.
they quit producing the levels of oxytocin.
I'm going to post it in the back chat.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about, but it's a chemical reaction. It's not philosophy at all. Not what the red pill is talking about is
either.
Yeah, what red pill is talking about is all chemical reaction. It's not, and it's all a theory, right? They're still not sure that the science behind these oxytocin release metrics are real or have anything to do with actual mate selection. And and out of this comes the whole red pill idea of being alpha widowed, right? Is that you get fucked by one dude so good that this woman will never be happy with any other man and will always compare other men through it. Yeah. It's basically just science, right? Now, I personally believe, based on, because I do have a degree in psychology, and also I literally been with a lot of people, but I personally think that you only get so many chances at actual love, and actual, you only meet so many people that you are compatible with in life. If you're lucky, the numbers in the area of 5, probably. For me, it was, in that area. Probably I can name only 3 women in my life that I would have married, including my wife. The others were all, who cares? They were great. They're wonderful people, just not my people. And so that's, and red pills pushed all of this stuff. And it all comes down to that they really require feminism to be a thing, because without it, they don't have anything. They don't have anything else. It's all junk science. It's all garbage. And so
it's pseudoscience. It's not even real.
Yeah, it's junk science. I mean, what it is it's research that has there's a theory to it. There's a reason it's called a theory, because it's not proven. It can't be proven.
Well, the problem with the red pill, the what you're describing to me, is they're taking bits and pieces of stuff because pair bonding is its own thing, but it's also very heavily influenced by RK selection theory. Mm-hmm. So they're literally taking bits and pieces of something and trying to manipulate it to fit their ideology and pushing it out as science. Of course. And
now what they're trying to do is they're doing the same thing with feminism, because if the red pill got called out hardcore on the fact that without feminism, the red pill really can't exist, because you have to have women telling other women to spread their legs and bang as many dudes as possible.
They want
without that red pill fails.
Want the same. Well, the feminists and the red pill, they want the same thing: sexual liberation, a destruction of the family unit.
Well,
the hippie movement,
kind of.
They serve the same masters and they serve the same issues. The simple fact of the matter is that they're both.
I'm sorry, you got a troll in the chat. Give me a second.
I took care of it.
Oh, you already did.
A little tired.
I took care of it.
Oh no, he's still there.
Oh.
Yeah, that other one, Beth, was over in vertical.
Oh, there's another one in the other one. That's
there
really
was. I
Thank
know.
you.
Enjoy your 24 hours, Jack. I don't like that guy, so fuck him. But anyway, I think so I think the whole idea behind the covert feminism is coming out of the red pill, black pill space. And what they're really trying to do is they're really trying hard to attack tradcons or newly converted Christians and show them as feminists for some fucked up reason that I don't understand.
What's the term against their own is what it is.
Well, I think they're afraid of the left. I think they're afraid of the leftists, or they can't get leftists to talk to them.
Two things can be true.
What's that?
Two things can be true. Actually, three things can be true. As Kaleidoscope, my homegirl says, it's dysgenics. Hey, I think that's what we're seeing at play. We're seeing a bunch of dysgenic freaks hating on society that just want to drag it down and destroy it because they don't fit in it or they hate it.
Yeah.
Right.
And some people benefit from it and just want to grift and make money, and then they sell a product to the people that hate it.
Yeah. So I really go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll just go after you.
I'm sorry.
I'll go after you, Greg.
Oh. I forget what I was going to say. No, I just think the idea of, so I guess my problem with the idea of covert feminists is I haven't ever met one. I've met a lot of feminists. They're
covert would be that you're secretly trying to go against something, right?
Well, I think what they're really, so this is my problem, and this I guess my other problem with it. So basically, Chuck, I'm sure that you know women that
Hussies.
Huh?
That are
hussies.
Okay. That's mean. So why is Cynthia so mean?
No, Chuck knows women that are hussies for sure.
I do. Yes, I do.
I know those.
But you understand that, like, we all know women that go to church on Sunday that are, have families and all of that, and they live a fairly traditional life. But if you ask them, they'll say, well, and they're kind of liberal in some of their views, right? Where they'll say, well, I do believe in, that women should be allowed to do X or whatever. Or maybe they won't, but I don't know. So we all know women that have some feminist trait because it's feminine, right? They're kind of okay with girl power, right? Like they're kind of
well, they think like women.
Women are going to have an in-group preference for women. Men are going to have an in-group preference for women, unless it's somebody's wife or the mother of their child or their mom. Then the in-group preference is going to favor their relation. In-group preference is one of the strongest things for humans and creatures in general, and we all have it. That's why we say everybody's racist, because a broken clock is right twice a day. This is something that the leftists like to use against people as if in-group preference is something bad, and they're retarded.
Yeah, and so to me, it's another type of purity testing, right? You're not really a tradcon because you think that it's okay for women to work outside the home. You're not really a tradcon because you, as a woman, feel like that you should have, I don't know, help me out here, like equal say in household.
Oh, they want equality. Yeah, they want equality in leadership.
But so I think I've never met a covert feminist. They're either feminist or they're not. I've met women who are liberal and leftist and still not feminist. Right.
Yeah, we call them butches.
Are you familiar with the all right, so like the story about why God made women the way that he made women? Like in Jewish mysticism.
Which version of the story are we going to listen to?
Well, in Jewish mysticism, they make up these stories to explain why things are the way they are, right? Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is that, like, so God creates Adam, and And Lucifer sees this and he gets super jealous. He's like, you know, I was your most beautiful creation. I was your most important creation. You made me all these things. Why do you love man more than you love me? And God's like, hold my beer, essentially. And God creates woman to spite the devil, essentially. He makes her more beautiful, more tempting, more cunning, more conniving, more.
No, he made women to spite men.
He made women to spite the devil, and literally because you can have a 500-pound woman, and somewhere you will find a man who's willing to fucking worship her. So literally, that's the story for it. And I find it funny. That's all.
Okay. Have you ever? And I did probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. I did a story on when Plain turns pretty. Right? Do you know any of these women that young women that are, I don't know, high school, college age, and they don't really know how to dress. They don't know how to do their hair. They're kind of gangly looking, and all of a sudden and they date some guy. I mean, I saw this happen. Like a friend of mine did. A friend of mine's kid, he's like 18, I think, and his girlfriend was like 17 or 18. They were dating, and she was gangly, didn't know how to do her hair, didn't know how to dress, none of that.
Homely looking.
Kind of homely. And he is like your typical farm boy. He was about, this fucking thick, right? Shoulders, everything, wore overalls, John Deere shirt, had the half beard, because he wasn't a full grown man yet, so he couldn't grow a full beard. But you know what I'm talking about. And so he,
kind of looked like me but less fat.
probably heavier, and just
17-year-old you,
right?
Bigger.
And so dudes like, not to most women, he would not be that attractive because they would think he's fat and lazy and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is, he's just an old farm boy. He's, is what it is. He is fat, but he's not lazy. Anyway, and I remember seeing the two together a couple of 3 years ago. I don't know. It's been a minute, and I thought that's kind of a good pairing. Kind of good. She doesn't eat much. He eats everything in the house. That's cool. It's a good way good way to plan it. But then over the course of a summer, I didn't see either one of them. I see him. He's the same as he always is. He's got his John Deere hat on. He's got, his overalls on, bib, the bib overalls. He's got his Wellington fucking boots on. He's got all the same shit he always wore. She's fucking hot. Like, she turned out, all of a sudden she grew boobs. I don't know where they came from, but they showed up.
It's called the glow up. Yeah.
And, she learned how to do her hair. She bought some clothes that fit her. And, it was like when you saw the two together, you're like, what the actual fuck? Right?
Yeah.
And have you guys seen that when Plain goes to pretty, right? Like, and
yes.
So, what do you guys think about how that works out in modernity? Because I think they're still dating. Hell, they may have gotten married by now. But what do you guys think about that? Because if we listen to this covert feminist, red pill, black pill kind of stuff, she should dump his ass and go find herself a rock star stud. I think these. I don't know. I've only known him about 4 or 5 years.
Kaleidoscope says, I bet that country boy is a fucking Chad. The thing is, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to bring out the best in each other.
Yes.
Whether it's two men as friends, or whether it's a man and woman as a coupling, we're supposed to bring out the best in each other. Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel.
Sure.
And I feel like that's what you see going on there.
I'll respond after Cynthia.
So what I was wanting to say earlier, that as society has progressed, we have complicated a lot of things by giving each other these terms, and you're this and you're that, and noticing differences and noticing how to correct them or how you could do it better. And what we lost is what Britt is talking about, is that is a site. That is obviously a young man that grew up in a family of values. And he understood. My mom and dad work well together. And as I talk to my kids, you want a wife that's going to work well with you. I see that you're high strung. You're going to need someone that is a little bit more okay with that. And being able to identify the qualities that we want in our partner has been overshadowed with all of these terms and everything. But what you see, like you were talking about, Greg, when it's just simple, back to the basics, and you find what you're looking for, no matter what, you stick through it because you know that that is value and growth, and all of that takes time.
Yeah.
So from my insight on this one is that, like, I was kind of that way. Like, I never really saw myself as being very pretty. As a matter of fact, I was really overweight in like middle school. And it wasn't till like I didn't like after I had my daughter and like my ex-husband, like he swooped in pretty quick, and he wanted me to look pretty all the time with him. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely had a big influence on how I did my hair, how I dressed, how I carried myself, especially in public, because I'd be right next to him. I think the problem is that, you know, that's a good thing because, like Cynthia says, we're supposed to be bringing out the best in one another. But then you get some men who really bite onto like the pill mentality. And then that can start becoming
absolutely, Mr.
more
Alley
of a
Cat.
weapon
There's a lot of truth to what you just said.
Keep the woman.
Good to see you in the chat, by the way.
You know, it's almost like a guilt trip. Like they want you to look a certain way, but then how dare you look that way? And not all women are out to, you know, be slutty ass bitches. They're really not.
I guess
want to make their man happy.
Yeah, I guess, Beth, normally if you see a couple like that, you wonder why they are together and how long it's going to take her to dump his ass, right? Because she is so much prettier. She's another level. I'm not saying that this is actually. I'm not going to say that I actually believe that she's like another level, social level higher, or whatever. But when people look at her, they're going to be like, well, she obviously ought to be dating this kind of dude, right?
I still heard about me and my ex-husband. My ex-husband was already losing his hair when we had our son, and we had our son pretty early on. And you know, I mean, there's been lots of people who are like, "Why the fuck were you with him?" And it's like, nah, like I actually grew up. There's a bigger push in some circles to keep to traditionalism. And you do see these girls who, despite the glow up, the mentality is, I want to be this wife. I want to be this woman. And like I would have, if we had to move into a cardboard box, I would have followed my husband there in a heartbeat. I wouldn't have given a shit about it. I never saw him any less for the problems and the struggles that we had. We were in that shit, you know, thick as thieves, just fucking fighting through because we were both single parents when we got together.
And so this is what I think about. This is what I think about covert feminism, right? When I think about covert feminism, what I think it is it's attempting to define a problem that doesn't exist, so you have a reason to bitch and moan. That's what I think. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I think about. I think
it doesn't tie into the glow up though, because the glow up can go either way. Just as many good women as there are who will stay by that guy they fell in love with when they were teenagers, there's twice as many women who are like, why was I even
instant
with
attention?
Him? Your friends get in your head sometimes if you don't have that good moral foundation. So that's where pushing the moral foundation becomes what we ought to be doing in this country.
Well, I think that there's a lot.
To me, there's too much based on one aspect. The outside looks. People are putting too much on that. Because when you get with somebody, it's an inside job as well as the outside.
I agree with you, and that's why this idea of like covert feminism and all this other stuff, it's hard for me to give a lot of credence to things like that, because and what I really think it's doing is it's trying to give people yet another reason to bitch at other people, right? Like I don't see any need for that. my personal, like again, I'll get into my personal opinion. My personal opinion is that I think there's people bitch a lot about feminism, mistaking it for femininity. I want a feminine woman. I want a woman who actually does expect me to do the masculine things. I don't find that to be covert feminism. I also want a woman, and I find it a very attractive quality when women are strong outside the home. I find that to be a very desirable quality in women. I honestly,
let's go.
I don't like very submissive, timid women. Well, actually, let me rephrase. When I viewed women as toys to be played with, I loved weak, submissive women because they did exactly what I told them to do.
OG, highlight Vividness's last comment, please. It's a good one. And yes, this is Valkyrie. She's a local star here at OG's. For if you haven't met her. Yeah, I know.
The Russian Blue.
Yes.
I love Russian Blues. They have a lot of personality.
Oh my God, you're not kidding. She was born in my lap, so she's like obsessed with me.
They have very faithful cats. For cats, they're very faithful.
She's got really cool eyes too, because her mom's eyes are solid blue and her dad's eyes were a goldish green. So her eyes are blue in the center and fade out to a gold, like from blue to green to gold. They're really cool, and all of her siblings' eyes turned out that way.
I like Russian Blues because they were what Siamese ought be.
Her mom is Siamese.
Yeah,
see.
They're what Siamese ought be. Siamese are awesome cats, except for the massive streak of independence that they have.
She's the dominant. She's very dominant in this household. Like the poor dog. Oh my God! Something interesting happened with Alaska last night. I've never seen happen before. I found a cover by Damien Rice of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. And I love Damien Rice, phenomenal artist. And so I was like, oh, and I
got you off track there again, Squirrel. So can you remember?
My dog started sobbing. I've never seen him sob before.
Squirrel.
I'm gonna make somebody needs to go through that movie and take all of this where the squirrel and just put it into a compilation, and just every time you start like pinging off in a different direction, just hit play.
Play the clip.
Yeah, agreed. Vividness. I think you're right. I think that's a key point. Right? Is that I think that those relationships work because obviously he is making her feel valued, worthy, and feminine, and she wants to look pretty because she feels good about herself and also to honor him. I think that's right. I think that's a great way to look at it and the right thing to say. But in modernity, I think most of us, maybe not all, but most of us, if they saw a woman, this pretty 18 or 19-year-old girl with a kind of homely, farm boy looking, kind of fat dude, you'd be like, there's an incongruency there. That's and I don't know, but again, I think that for the most part, when how do I say this? I just don't see that. I think that there's a lot of things that are mistaken for feminism that are just femininity, and I don't care about any of that. I don't mind that women want to empower other women, although I hate that word. I think that word's stupid. But I do think women need to be strong. The stronger the women, the stronger the men. It's all how it works.
Well, that goes back to the whole idea of the term helpmate in scripture, right? Because what it means is to, be more of that strength behind one another. When women are made biblically, it is to be everything that Adam needs for support on all the levels that he needs it. And the only other time we find that exact term that's used when God talks about it's not good for man to be alone so much, I will make a helper for him. It's actually helpmate. And the only other time that word is used is when describing the Holy Spirit. So it's not saying that women are the equivalent of that. It's the job is similar, right? We're that supposed to be that physical representation for our man to be like, hey, you come home, it's been a shitty day. I'm supposed to be your soft place to land and make sure you don't got to worry about fuck else for the rest of the day, you know, or even tomorrow for that matter. Whatever I can do to make you stronger by being your support.
What do you think about this though, Beth? What if like, now this doesn't happen in my household, it's kind of reverse in my household, but I've seen households where the husband, he works, he does all the business outside the house, the wife pays the bills, and if there's any problems with like a bill, or you know, something gets fucked up somewhere, somebody messes up the bank messes up the checking account, the husband's not the one that calls and deals with that. It's the wife that calls and argues with them and fights to get the money back and does all of that. Now, do you think that that's feminism, or do you just think that that is the woman doing her job because that's her deal, right? Like she was given a responsibility and she needs to handle that shit and not bother her man with that. So is it
you don't bother? I agree with you. If she's the first line of defense, if there's a problem, you try and sort that shit out. If you can't sort it out, if they're not going to listen to you, if they're going to talk down to you, whatever, then bring your husband. You know, it's one thing to be like, honey, this problem happened. I got it though. It's all taken care of. Right. But why bother him if, you know, I mean, and be like, I need you to take care of this. No, I only did that. Like if it came down to, I'm having a problem, they won't listen to me, and I've tried really, really hard. And like we had problems with the school district every so often. And man, they hated it when my ex-husband would come in. They were terrified of him. It got to where like if they knew he was coming to a parent-teacher meeting, they brought the sheriff's department to the meeting.
So let me throw this out there. Would the same thing hold true, do you think, if we were talking about, for example, when we were at GregCon, Tyler was there, and because he's now a married man, whereas a single man, he just spent all of his money however he wanted to, didn't care, you know, had a little extra cash in his pocket, buy this thing, no big deal. Now that he's married, they want to buy a house, they want to do all these things, and his wife is like, you know, basically kind of the keeper of the purse at this point, and like he's allowed to spend up to about $30 without asking her, and after that it needs to be a conversation in their household. What do you think about that? Is that
I got lots of input on this. So number one, you must remember that he is a liberal.
He is.
Number one, that you got to start.
He's getting closer to conservatism, but he's not there yet.
But there's a huge but with this. If within their marriage they have sat down together as a unit and said, this is our goal that we want to work towards. This is what it's going to take for us to reach that goal. I would assume that she would have the same rule for herself. I would hope she would.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would hope she would. I think she's a beautiful
in my mind,
woman.
I think that they've agreed to this together, right? Like anything over $30, we're going to talk to
that. Then that's different, right? That's like having a conversation like we had this agreement, because marriage today in our country is all about contract anyways, right? For the most part.
Maybe.
We don't like to think it is. State sanctioned marriage is more of a contract than it is a religious institution. You and I don't like that. I'm with you. I don't like that. I'm all about the
Hello,
covenantal marriages, okay?
Ludelness.
But
good to see you in the chat.
They have made
We're over
a
on
deal with
OGs.
one another.
Hang on, it's been a while.
And if they're going to deviate from it, it would make sense out of respect for one another. Because she could be like, I want to support you. I want to help you. I want to be whatever you need me to be to get you through. But how can I do that if you're not
I hate to interrupt.
talking to me about things?
Give me 1 second. I gotta take care of logistics. Miss Cynthia, if you're still here, it says that you're having a connection issue. Your devices are disconnected. So please, when you get those fixed, just message me and I'll bring you back up. And welcome to the show, Ahimsa. Hey,
My
go ahead.
sister.
I'm so sorry.
My
I'm so
sister.
sorry. I wanted to make sure Miss Cynthia knew her devices were messed up.
So let me. Oh, go ahead. All
Yeah,
right.
no,
Let me kind of add to this a little bit, right? So let's say that they both work, but he makes the majority of the money, and she has a job doing whatever, doesn't make as much money, and they've agreed to this budget. So because they are trying to buy a house, they're trying to improve their lives together, and they have agreed to this. It's not like she woke up one day, looked at the checkbook, and said, "Hey, motherfucker, you need to stop that shit, and you can't do anything without asking me." But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they sat down, they had a budget meeting, they said, "Hey, this is what's up. This is where here's where the money's leaking out. We got to stop that shit. You can't just go buy whatever anytime you want and all that." And so, would that then? So in that case, is it the right thing to do? Is it a feminist trait for her to for him to need to run by any purchase through her, or is that the two working together to accomplish a goal for that serves their marriage?
I think it's still them working together to accomplish the goal, and here's why. If they are both taking 100% of their income, it doesn't matter if you make twice as much as me and I'm home twice as much as you taking care of the house. We're both putting 100% into our marriage, both of us, okay? Therefore, what's the difference? Why, if I'm doing 100% and you're doing 100%, why would you get $30 and I only get 10? You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, let's reverse this a little bit. Let's say that the man is the complete breadwinner. He all the money that comes into the house comes from him.
Okay.
They have a joint account, and she oversees it, and she basically says, you have $1,000 a month to just discretionary spending, lunch at work, if whatever, golf on Sunday, whatever. Nope. Sorry, that's my wife calling, so I will be right back. I gotta mute everything.
I like this conversation. Thank you for letting us have this exchange, OG. I don't think OG's even here. It's just me all by myself now. Hey, that means I can squirrel myself out all day long, right? Or as long as Grit is on the phone. Oh, I have.
All right, sorry about that. I'm over time. I told her I'd be done at 3, so she's like, "Hey, we need to talk about stuff." But
I think I know where you're going with this. Like, let's say, and tell me if I'm wrong, just to maximize your time. If my husband is making 100% of the income, but I'm taking care of 100% of everything else, and we are both have similar, like if I'm not out getting my nails done and just spending his money let's say I'm spending 25% what he's spending, why should that change the dynamics of us having a conversation?
What's up, Denny? How are
about
you?
Where money is being spent? I think that makes the conversation even more important so that he doesn't feel like he's just getting used.
Yeah. So yes, I agree with that. But for me, I think it's a little more basic, right? Like there needs to be a division of responsibilities in the household, right? If my job is to go out and make the money, and your job is to take care of the household, you must have access to the purse to do that, right?
Sure.
Now, I'm not saying that everything's like that, because I do know I do know that it's entirely possible for a man to pay all the, sit down. Like my grandfather sat down every month, wrote out all the checks, pay all the bills, put them in the mail, sent them off. My grandmother really never did that.
Sure.
And so if that's the case, and he would give her X amount to spend, and if she needed it more than that, she just had to ask or whatever.
Right.
Until they both, and even when they both worked, all the money went into one pile.
Yep.
It still worked the same way. Now, I'm not saying that this works for everybody, but I find that it is very often the case that the man is out there working, making the money, doing the investing, whatever, makes it the lion's share of the money. Not always, because in modernity, women can make a ton of money. My wife, for example.
Come down to a matter of 100% is going to be 100%, even if it's a matter of, like, say she wasn't working and she's strictly taking care of the home, with or without children, just in anticipation of children, right? And making sure there's food in the fridge, laundry's always done, house is always clean, groceries are always stocked, bills are always paid. She takes care of everything. So all he has to do is come home, kick off his shoes, and she's got a plate. And everything is done for him. That's still 100%. However, even in that aspect, I think that it's really important within a marriage that the two people are realistic enough to be like, him working for his money is no different than, like, anything I may feel I deserve because of the work I'm doing, right? So therefore, we should be on equal footing when it comes to spending.
Yeah. So you just said something really key. So his money, right? So one of the very first things I did in my marriage was there is no his or her money. It's our money. And
Right.
and there was there's no differentiation there in my marriage. Now, other people may do that differently. I guess where I was kind of in its long leading path is that I don't think that I would consider it feminism for in a marriage for the woman to be just as concerned with the finances as the man, or even be in control of the finances, or vice versa. And I just don't think that it makes you I'm tying it all back into the covert feminist thing. I don't think that because that what people are labeling as covert feminism, this idea of it, and I use specifically the purse as an example of how women often talk about being empowered, right? Having their money, having control of finances, and that sort of thing. And so
that's why I use the his hers.
Yeah.
Because
So I just don't.
The institution of marriage has been corrupted.
Right. So I just don't think, I think that a lot of these people would say, well, that's covert feminism. She's saying one thing, but she's doing another. But in my mind, it's all the same. And it's not feminism for a woman to be strong enough to manage household finances. And if you want to say that it's not traditional, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut it. I'm going to have to cut it kind of short here. If we're going to say it's non-traditional, that's absolutely false. All throughout history, women have been the managers, if you will, of the home.
Right.
Right. Men went off and made the fortune. Women were at home, making sure that there was a home.
This is where the his and hers separation starts coming into play, is because that institution has been corrupted in modernity by society. Now we're told
horse
to look
God,
at it
welcome
as
in.
his versus
I'm getting
hers.
ready to.
There's no longer an ours.
I got to go do some
easy
stuff
to
this
walk
afternoon.
the fuck away
We'll
from
be
one
back
another.
on Wednesday, though.
People don't know how
enjoy
to
the show
work
until I end it.
together,
I'll
nor
be
do they
right
know
back.
how to put in the time to work through it.
They don't know how to talk to one another.
Yes, yes.
Those relationships
It's easier,
don't
right?
form overnight. You have to go through some hard times together.
Yes.
But we live in a society like, girl, you could do better.
It's
I
way
can do better. I'm worth more. And you
It's
don't
way
understand.
easier.
You work through that. You learn about each other. And so the next time hardship comes up, you're better prepared for it. And guess what? The next time, and there's going to be a point like, baby, we're about to go through it again. And the baby's going to go, well, shit, let's buckle down because we going to
Roll up
ride
them
together.
sleeves.
Well,
Let's go.
look,
Right.
I like all of that, but here's the thing. That flies in the face of feminism. Everybody talks about it, right? Like they want to call it, they want to label these things, but what they're really doing is nobody wants to put the work in. They want easy answers, and they don't want to deal with problems. They don't want to argue. And how many times, women these days, and maybe it's just the people that I'm exposed to, they don't want to argue. They'll just leave.
Right.
They don't want to work through anything. Dudes are the same way. Dudes are so fucking soft now that they can't argue without it turning into a fist fight. They can't have a discussion especially with women. They get so. I'm still fascinated by this phenomenon of grown men, and by grown I mean over 18. They're still technically teenagers, but grown men who cannot sit down and have a conversation, even a heated conversation, and it not turn into them stomping off in anger. I'm blown away by this. And so this is what I think it is I think this whole idea of covert feminism, I think all of this stuff is just an attempt to label it something so that when a dude is unhappy with a woman, he can say, well, she was a covert feminist anyway. When a girl is challenging another woman, well, she's a covert feminist. Who cares about her fucking opinion? Right.
Right.
And I think this is just absolutely insanity. And Glenn and I have gone round and round about this because that's Pearl's new thing. Pearl's new thing is that that she basically is calling out trad cons for being covert feminists. That's what she wants to do. Now, I personally, my observation is I think it's because Pearl got her ass kicked by every lefty she's faced lately, especially like Anna Kasparian, who is almost, at this point, Anna Kasparian's almost more tradcon than she is leftist. Like her rhetoric, all the shit that she's saying and doing is like damn near conservative. Like I don't know why she is still considered a leftist, except for maybe branding. I don't know, but it's, and so this is what I consider right on right violence, right? It's someone that would come to Beth and say, well, you are because you have raised your children to adulthood by yourself. You are a feminist. Where's your man? You're a covert feminist. And I would not necessarily consider Beth to be a tradcon, or I'm actually not sure what I consider Beth. I don't believe that she's a covert feminist. Now, does she have some feminist traits? Probably. I don't know. I don't care.
Probably.
Does, but she might have yelled girl power a couple of times. I don't know. Maybe she was soft on her daughter at some point. I don't know.
One of the things I noticed is that when you were talking about they just fight, they don't know how to have conversations. I feel like as the older generations need to teach them and talk to them, going to pre-marriage counseling is a good idea. She's
damn near conservative right now. It happens with women.
You're not being a simp. You're actually trying to build a future with somebody, and you want the correct tools that you need to have these hard conversations to where it doesn't get into fight or talking past each other. But society, you can do it yourself, girl, or you can do it yourself. You don't need that bitch. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't make fun of me, Insect.
My marriage came to an end in 2019, and I spent 20 years with that man, okay? With the exception of some small moments here and there. And I will tell you right now, I need a fucking man in my life.
So I'm gonna have to go, but just a couple of things before I go.
Exactly. That's the thing, is I need the right man, and I am aware of the statistics on non-biological males in the household with minor children, and my only child that's left as a minor is about to be a major. Right. So I'm not gonna,
So before I got to get out of here, but before I go, a couple of things. First of all, Insecta, girl power. Yeah, I don't know that women still say that. I'm fucking old. Get over it. It's fine. Over in my chat, Horse God says Anna got married and changed fairly quickly. Yes, that's what happens. All these leftist women. All these women are all leftist and feminist and all that bullshit until they get married. And then once they start living a life as a wife, all that shit changes. Because all of a sudden, it's not you go girl. It's I got to get kids ready for school.
All you got to do is put it in their heart, bro. That's all. You just hit it until it goes in their heart. That's all you got to do.
Is that what you got to do? All right.
And just
ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, in both my chat and yours, is great to be here tonight or this afternoon. I've got to get out of here. As always, it's a pleasure.
Likewise.
And
awesome combo. Thank you.
And I was looking for
a great combo.
I couldn't debate. I haven't been able to debate for like 3 weeks. So I'm like primed. I'm like somebody's gonna get cheated.
Somebody's about to get
wrecked. Grid. I still would like to host you and Denizen for a 1v1.
That wouldn't be a debate. That'd just be a discussion, and he would end up getting angry and yelling at me.
So. Oh, I love it. Let's do it.
No. Okay. Look, to be fair, Dennison only yells when people overtalk him. He did
the other day. He got really mad at me, but I was trying to stop him before he continued. He was like, I just wanted to focus on that point.
That's he personally he's trying to work on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like Dennison a lot. I want I don't know who I want to debate yet, but I want to I don't know. Some leftist somewhere is going to get just beat.
All right. Well, we're going to find you a debate.
Let's do it.
Who do you want to?
We should debate Destiny.
I've already. I would debate Destiny. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try and get Gibbs to set that up because I I wanted to debate him, and actually, if he had actually shown up at my event, I would have debated him. I would have like turned off all my duties, and I would have gone and debated him. But he did not show up. It is what it is. All right, I got to get out of here. You guys have a great rest of your night. I will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, Grid. It was awesome.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. See ya. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I got to go. Kasparian. Hold on. What did I miss something? Kasparian is TurkCon, mimicking trad values to pander to Chunk Yogurt Network. Yeah, I could see that, Arno. I could see that. Dennison, I agree with you. I just wanted to, you were moving to another point, and I just wanted to like get to that one point. And I will agree with that. Yeah. So fair enough, Dennison. Fair enough. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to get out of here. I will see you Wednesday at noon. In the meantime, as always, be cool. Wear the glasses if you need them, and go get off my lawn. See ya.
Did you know if you put your top lip and your bottom lip and you press them together, you will experience how to shut the fuck